A promise kept, but with a catch. How an abandoned mansion in the American marshes became a symbol of a man's vengeance. Who built Boston's skinniest house, and why? Boston's skinniest house is for sale. In 2021, this listing sent waves through the real estate market of one of America's oldest cities. The four-story building up for sale measures 30 feet long and just over 10 feet wide. Basically, that's less than 325 square feet per floor. As I understand it, the entrance is in an alley and you walk directly into the kitchen area. The living room and a bathroom are on the second floor, and the bedroom is up on the fourth. The house is so narrow that almost all the furniture had to be brought in disassembled. The previous owners even had to cut a box spring in half to get it up to the fourth floor. But even in pieces, they could only squeeze it into the bedroom through a window. The building has only 5 doors, and it's difficult for 2 people to pass each other in the tight passageways. And during New Year's, when 10 guests were in the house, if one person needed to get up to wash their hands, everyone present had to move and be inconvenienced. But despite all the drawbacks, demand for the unique property was enormous. On the open house day, potential buyers lined up to see it. The building sold in less than a week. The new owner paid $1,250,000 for it. The reason is that the Skinny House is one of Boston's most popular landmarks. The story of its construction is shrouded in legend and rumor. One of the most popular versions is that in 1874, a man erected this house to literally block out the sun and air for his neighbor with whom he was feuding. There's another beautiful legend that the feud wasn't between neighbors, but within a family. It says there were 2 brothers who inherited their father's land. While one was away fighting in the Civil War, the other built a large, beautiful mansion, leaving his brother only a tiny sliver of land. So, the first brother, in retaliation, built this strange and very narrow house. A similar legend surrounds Beirut's narrowest house. The width of this unusual structure in the Lebanese capital varies from 2 to 13 feet depending on the spot. Locals call the building Al-Bassa, the Grudge. It was erected in the mid-20th century. According to local residents, an Arab father left a plot of land to his sons as inheritance. For a long time, they couldn't decide how to divide it, until the situation was complicated further when the municipality expropriated part of the land. Their shares became even more unequal, and so, in retaliation, one of the brothers built a strange house. First, to block the beautiful views of his bitter rival, and second, simply to get revenge. And this is what a woman's wounded pride looks like. This 29-story skyscraper, built in the center of Buenos Aires in 1936, for a long time stood as the tallest building not just in Argentina, but in all of Latin America. This masterpiece of modernist architecture was commissioned by Corina Kavanagh, a millionaire of Irish descent. To build this towering 400-foot building, Corina Kavanagh sold 2 of her ranches and an estate in Ireland, and it was all because of an incredible love. At 39 years old, she fell in love with the 25-year-old heir to the aristocratic Anchareña family who lived in the Palacio San Martín. Since she was not from an aristocratic family herself, his parents were vehemently against the engagement. Corina Kavanagh's chosen one didn't dare go against his parents' wishes and rejected his beloved. The insulted Argentine woman decided to get even for her broken heart, no matter what the cost. The spurned lady chose a highly original method of revenge. She built a high-rise on Plaza San Martín, directly opposite the Anchareña mansion, with a single purpose: to block out the family's view of their ancestral church from their windows. Moreover, the Kavanagh Building turned out to be even more luxurious than the aristocrat's palace. It contained apartments that she sold to wealthy people. And her revenge was so sweet, and she wanted to savor it so much, that she spared no expense in outfitting all the apartments. They were equipped with the latest technology, design, and so on. so it was a super attractive, prime piece of real estate for investment or for living. Corina Kavanagh herself lived for many years in an apartment that occupied the entire 14th floor of the skyscraper. From the windows of her luxurious apartment, she had a perfect view of the Anchareña Palace. Looking down upon the family home of the arrogant aristocrats, the Argentine woman fully savored her revenge. However, the only thing worse than a scorned woman can be a scorned man. The proof is the solitary pink house on Plum Island, Massachusetts. It's arguably the main attraction of the small town of Newbury. According to rumor, the mansion was built in the 1920s when its owners, a young couple, were going through a painful separation. The husband and wife were divorcing, couldn't agree on something, and as part of their prenuptial agreement, the husband was obligated to build his wife some sort of home and provide housing for her and the children. She asked him to build an exact replica of the house they had lived in during their marriage. However, the wife didn't specify exactly where the dwelling should be located. In the end, the offended husband, out of spite, built her a house on a salt marsh. It said that even the tap water and the plumbing, all the utility water, was super saturated with salt, making it impossible to drink or even boil. That's how badly he wanted to spite his ex-wife, leading to these consequences in her life. For a long time, the residents of Newbury passed this story down from generation to generation. However, in 2017, local historians decided to verify the legend's authenticity. As it turned out from archival documents, the mansion on the marshes was indeed built by a young couple. The only thing is they lived there together. The couple divorced only several years after moving into the pink house. Furthermore, the building never had a twin. What's more, in the 1920s, on Plum Island, fresh water was extremely scarce in general, so that situation applied to the entire island, not just this specific location. The young couple lived in the secluded house until the husband took a mistress in Boston and left his family. So, if anyone had a reason to be offended, it was more likely his cheated wife. Since 2011, the mansion on the marshes belongs to the municipality of Newbury. The legend of the vengeful husband, which drew crowds of tourists to the area, prevented the authorities from demolishing the abandoned building. Now that the myth has been debunked, tourist interest in the pink house has sharply dropped. Yet local residents continue to protest its demolition. Over many years, the mansion on the marshes has become a true symbol of the town.